is not and should not be viewed as a news source. Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are purely fictional, and any information discussed is purely speculative. Guest opinions are their own and do not reflect those of anyone else. Where in the Folk is not responsible for content accuracy of any stories that are told or what people do with these stories. This show is vulgar, sometimes graphic, and due to its content, it should not be viewed by anyone actually.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Where in the Folk. I hope you motherfolkers have had a great week. Mine has been amazing.
Yes.
And so, we are in a horrific storm is coming through. So hopefully, I'm on here all night. But Tully is blaming not being here on the storm. That's a good excuse, I guess. But hopefully he'll pop on now.
Yeah.
He said, "I don't know what's wrong. Oh, we got fiber optics buried in the ground, but I ain't got no internet." I was like,
Yeah, but you know, they told us when we went fiber optics at my office, make sure you have a backup because fiber gets cut more than any other possible, communication line. And they were very right. There have been multiple times that backup has been wonderful.
But I guess we'll go ahead and get right into it. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight on Where in the Folk, where we cover every Friday night strange news from around the world. And I guess we'll go ahead and get started with the Friday Feel Good. You want to do that, or do you have something else you want to start with?
No, I'll go with that because it's a really cool story. All right. So there was a Buford. He is a 6-year-old Great Pyrenees Anatolian mix. And he is currently being celebrated in Arizona for protecting and rescuing a toddler that went missing last week. Last week, the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office honored Buford with an honorary search and rescue certificate. They gave him a vest, recognizing him as a source of comfort to the family and community, and for playing a vital role in representing the spirit of keeping our community safe. And they praised his vigilance and protective instincts. And so basically what happened was 2-year-old Bowden Allen was playing outside. His mom goes inside to do something for the 1-year-old. And when she comes back out, he's gone. And they live in a part of Arizona that's a lot of rugged terrain and everything. And they had over 40 people out searching for him overnight for over 16 hours. And Scotty Dunton, Buford, the dog's owner, walked outside, and the little boy was sitting in the driveway, and the dog was sitting there with him. The child, the little boy was missing for, like I said, 16 hours. He had gone 7 miles from his home. And like I said, when the dog, saw him, said, he went out there and started gardening. And the next morning, Scotty, the dog's owner, walked outside, because he owns a farm, and said that he just saw him sitting there with the little boy, like he was keeping him from going anywhere, and said, that then he, started searching around and found out that the boy was missing and everything, and let him know. And so everybody's safe, everybody's good. And now Buford is getting gifts from people around the world for his bravery.
Oh, sweet little dog.
Yeah, that's a sweet big dog.
Dogs are something else. When I was a little kid and we lived in Florida, I decided I wanted to play hide and seek. Mm-hmm. And I hid in a laundry basket. Like, you remember them old ones that had the lid on them that you fold down? They may still have them. And I fell asleep in there, and everybody didn't know where I was at, so they called the cops and everything. And eventually my dad turned loose my black lab to help look for me, and it ran straight into the trailer and straight to the laundry basket, and I got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, well, hey, you're a little fella. You needed some rest, Yeah. And they are. Dogs are amazing. I mean, just this morning, we started raising chickens recently, and we have an electric door that comes up and down with sunrise and sunset. So, they can be out during the day and then they can go in and roost at night. Well, my cameras started going into infrared last night, which meant the sun had gone down. So I went out, looked, the door was still open, but the chickens were all up. Like, okay, good. This morning I go out to check on them. They are locked out because in that 3-minute time period between when I looked at them and when the door closed, they decided they'd take one last stroll. Well,
Nice.
one was missing. And I'm like, okay, did they pull a Lord of the Flies thing and decide that one had to go? But I don't see feathers. I don't see remains or anything. And our beagle runs over and starts barking at me. They have a ramp going up and she had fallen under the ramp and couldn't get back up.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, good job. So like I said, they're absolutely amazing. If people were more like dogs, it'd be a much better place.
Oh yeah, for sure. Except my dogs are terrified of storms right now. I don't know where they're at. They're usually sitting right here.
Yeah.
But they're not here right now. They're probably somewhere in the house defecating or something.
You need to get them some Thunder Wonder.
Thunder Wonder.
Yep, here you go, right here. Thunder Wonder calming chews.
Ooh.
They're all natural, and our female beagle, when it starts thundering, comes to us like, okay, give them to me.
Little
And
addict.
it makes, look, I'm telling you what, it makes a huge difference because she wants to be in the bed on top of your head, between your head and the headboard when it storms.
Yeah.
And that's not conducive to a good night's sleep.
That's how they go.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my little one is. She's part beagle and she acts like that. She gets real bad. I feel like if she wasn't around, the big one wouldn't care.
Well, when the Chiweenie is home, she doesn't give a damn. Like I said, but she's all over the country. She goes with Mo. So I think she's used to so many different environments and noises and stuff that she doesn't care.
Yeah.
But the 3 beagles, oh my God. Why can't they comfort each other instead of all needing me to comfort them at one time?
Hey, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Yeah, if you're out there watching and this is the first time you've ever watched, go ahead and join us in conversation here in the chat. Jump in there and Linda keep you entertained. So the next story, the next one comes with video. So the scientists have released the first X-ray images of a mysterious spear-shaped object recovered in Buga, Colombia, which some locals claim is of alien origin. All right. The object described as a UFO was spotted in March 2025, zigzagging through the sky in a manner unlike conventional aircraft. It was recovered on March 2nd by a couple who reported it weighed about 4.5 pounds and it felt really cold, like a refrigerator to the touch. David Velez El Portro, one of the finders, noted that a man named Jose who touched it fell ill for a few days. So I don't want to touch it then. Mm-hmm. When water was poured on to the sphere, it smoked and vaporized instantly. Almost. Do you think it's because it's too cold or too hot?
Well, I mean, ice does put off a steam. Not like fire does, but
yeah, that's true. Velez El Portro, wary of government seizure, handed the object to ufologist Jamie Masson and his team for analysis. As there are no official reports of scientific validations of the incident, only eyewitness accounts. One moment. My sinuses are draining like crazy. So I got a hawk loogies, but the sphere, approximately 20 inches in diameter, was analyzed by the team led by radiologist Dr. Jose Luis Velasquez, who found it consistent of 3 layers of metal-like material, potentially titanium or even steel, with the outer layers as dense as a human bone. X-rays revealed that 18 microspheres arranged symmetrically around the central nucleus, referred to as the chip, and a central band of different material containing additional microspheres. Notably, the sphere shows no welds or joints. Ooh, somebody could get paid pretty good. Leading this person to conclude it is a artificial origin with a structure composed of high density elements. Nacho Rojo, commenting on the analysis, highlighted that the sphere's low density core compared to the denser outer shell, and speculated that the 18 microspheres could be sensors, bolts, or fragments deliberately engineered with a solid object with irregular edges. Huh. This is starting to sound a lot like what Mr. Deho spoke about when we talked to him. Is it?
Can I throw one thing out there? They said potentially titanium or steel. They could figure that. They could eliminate steel or prove that just by getting a magnet.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. The sphere's surface bears symbols resembling ancient scripts, including runes, Ogham, and Mesopotamian writing systems. I can never say that word. Mesopotamian writing symbols using AI. The team interpreted these as messages. The message read, the origin of birth through union and energy and the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion and consciousness, dash individual consciousness. Researchers suggest that this could be a call for humanity to shift consciousness toward environmental stewardship. Why not?
Yeah.
Given global issues like pollution, however, skepticism surrounding the findings due to Mason's controversial history, including unverified claims that alien mummies in 2017 and the lack of peer-reviewed confirmation, some speculate the sphere could be a publicity stunt. No. As Velez El Potro owns a metal detector company, through the X-rays confirmed a complex, non-human-like structure requiring further material analysis to determine its true origin.
Well, what does him having a metal detector company really say one way or the other?
He can be like, this thing can detect alien ships.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that like I said, there's always that possibility that somebody is trying to see what they can pull over on people. But the quickest, easiest way is to have other people look at it, but then you also stand the chance of somebody taking it, seizing it, and it disappearing.
Yeah, 100%. And we do have some video, so let's go ahead and give them a little watch here. This person, let me give them a shout out first here. Oots. This is from a Peggy Bolton. Peggy Bolton. All right. Let's see what old Peg's got to say about this here.
Of the Boogosphere. And I'm looking at these images and I'm like, why does this look like Stonehenge? Real quick recap for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about. This orb was flying around Buga, Colombia. It was videotaped by two different people at the same time on March 2nd at 1:45 p.m. One of the recordings is from Jose and the other one is from Maria. Jose and his friend were out metal detecting. Maria was out feeding her cows. Jose and his friend claimed that it struck some wires, and then in Maria's video, it is flying very slowly up and down. You can actually even see lights on the sphere in Maria's video. And then it actually landed in the woods in front of Jose, and they went and retrieved it. Initially, all they had was X-ray images, and that they used AI to help decode what this says. We'll come back to that in a minute. The orb seems to be completely sealed, no welds, no joints. After about 30 days, they didn't know what to do with it anymore, so they recruited the help of Jamie Masson, who is a known ufologist, to which he claims the sphere is currently in a safety deposit box. They've been taking it out and having experts do rounds of tests on it. We now know that it is about 95% aluminum, smaller percentage of manganese and zinc. That every test they've run on it, it has fluctuated. The hardness of the aluminum originally tested 326 to 336 units. Pure aluminum is typically only 65. Duralumin is typically up to 105. But as they've continued to test this sphere, every test fluctuates between the hardness of the aluminum. The temperature changes constantly from 24, ranges all the way up to 33 for no apparent reason. When Jose picked it up in the woods, he said it weighed roughly 4.5 pounds, but every time they have weighed it, it has weighed something different. And no one has an explanation for that. Maybe something anti-gravity. or something inside of it is messing with all the electronics. Okay, now that you're up to speed on all of that, these are the CT scan images, some of them, and they made 3D models based on the images. Now, no one knows exactly what this is inside of it, but let me explain something to you. These images here are if it was sliced in half, where the belt with the little rivet looking things going around the edge, and these images are if the belt is this way. So it's almost like, do you see this here? And there's like almost a straight line there. It's almost like if you took this one and turned it, that this would be where that is, and this would be where that is. But what is that? Now, here are some measurements they did, and the outer edge wall is about 3/4 of an inch thick. Now, one thing that they noticed was if you took these out, these go all the way to the center, like an opening. Okay, so now in this image, those would be where those two openings were. And that's when I was like, God, why does this look so similar to Stonehenge when it's sliced in half? Don't ask me how my brain put these two things together, because I don't know. Then I was like, let me compare it to the outside also. And I'm like, well, that's the language. But what I find super interesting is that everybody was talking about the language being decoded by AI. AI analyzed the language, but not against an alien language, against ancient Earth languages. They say that AI analyzed it against Runic, Enochian, Ogham, ancient Arabic, ancient Hebrew, and even ancient Mesopotamia. So do you guys think this is actually still some sort of really elaborate hoax, or do you think there could be some truth to all of this? So if this is a hoax, could someone explain how it's flying?
She does have a point.
She does have a point. We also have another video, I think, that he has attached to this one too.
I think that is the perfect analysis, Landa.
It's eating and pooping. That's what it's got to be. That's what it has to be doing. I mean, there's no other thing that can explain how it loses and gains weight.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Is this the same person? It's totally true. Is he trolling me right now? Is this the same video?
I don't think it's the same video, because I don't remember seeing it like that behind her.
Okay, let's check this one out and see what's going on.
The sphere that was discovered in the forest in Colombia? Or were you distracted by all the other headlines like I was? And they used AI to decode the language. Wait till you see what it says. So on Thursday, May 1st, Jose Velasquez is an X-ray specialist, and he did a series of X-rays on this. They claim that this fell after it received a 10,000 volt discharge. Now, they say they are 16 microspheres inside, and there are 3 layers of different densities. This is the most outer edge. So he is saying that that means they are different materials. So they say the dark-toned material is less dense, and they believe that it is possibly a porous material. Now, the people in Buga claim that this was flying around their town back in March, and that it actually was recovered back on March 2nd. And that when they touched it, it had the temperature of a refrigerator. Now, they counted 32 points around the edge, and that the materials used altogether for this seem to be different metals, but they have ruled out the fact that this is ornamental, because they believe that the way it was built was to definitely house whatever is inside. It seems too intentional to be simply ornamental. Now, the X-ray expert says it appears to have no welds or joints, and that this is absolutely different from anything he has ever studied in the past. But the guy who claims to have found it said that he was contacted by the government, but he refused to sign it over because it would never be seen again. So I'm guessing he just turned it over to a team of scientists. But they're saying even in the X-rays, there are no visible signs of any techniques by humans. So interpreting the text through AI, it says the origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousness. So what do you guys think?
I think it's unique. It's a unique situation. It's a unique story for sure. I just don't know. Like, there's so many things that's going around right now, and there's so many amateur inventors that are coming up with amazing things. And this really rings true to what Mr. Standeo was talking about when he came on, about, the different levels that people go through. Because when they touch it, it's cold to the touch. But usually, was it when they descended, it got cold, or hot? It got hot when it descended, and cold when it ascended. Yep. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. It's pretty unique. I'm interested on seeing where it goes.
Yeah, and I think maybe the next time we get Stan on, maybe, this is something we could get his opinion on too, because of the fact that he has talked about, some of the stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting. I would love to put my hands on it, but like I said, 20 inches, I mean, that's a pretty hefty size thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get sick though, And what kind of sickness was it? Was it like a stomach bug or?
Vaporized cold.
I didn't say.
No, I did not say where it said anything.
Yep.
But like I said, and I mean, did it affect everybody that way, or did it just affect the one person that was reporting it? Maybe it did not like it.
It might not like it. It might not.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's a cool story. We'll hopefully follow up on it sometime.
Yep. And I will bet you if there are any more videos, Tully will have them in our video list for our next Saturday night one.
Oh my God, there's so many videos. I wish I'm gonna give people a little background baseball here and show you the list of videos. This is Tully sends out the material. So this is the list of videos he has sent us to watch tonight. It is impossible.
This is why we have Saturday shows.
Yeah.
He's keeping us invested.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, I've got to give him a hard time because of all the hell he's given me about, well, you've got a 7-year list of stuff for us to talk about. Okay. All right, Mr. List. So,
and that's not even all the videos either, because each subject has its own videos.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which, like I said, it's cool. Like I said, we eventually get around to all of them, and like I said, we have to clean up our list occasionally. So okay, and this one, I've been a little bit iffy about, but okay, it is what it is. We've discussed stranger stuff, but a bill that would punish Americans for boycotting Israel ended up getting pulled from Congress. So, boycotting foreign countries is an American tradition. I mean, that is one of the beauties of living in this country is you're free to support or not support anybody you want to without fear of consequences. I don't like green and purple hair dye.
Nope.
So you should go to jail for that. That's bull, so, but they were actually trying to push some of this through recently. But the Boston Tea Party, that was actually before the American Revolution, and it was a campaign against British goods. They dumped all of the British tea into the Boston harbor because they didn't want to support, okay, let's go here for a minute. If you're boycotting somebody and you've already paid money for it and then you destroy it, you have not hurt that company at all.
No. I'm actually going to be making a lot of product here soon, and please buy it and burn it.
There you go. That's how I look at it. I'm just like going, okay, dude, it's yours. Do whatever you want to with it. But you do realize you paid good money for that, and the company is thanking you.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so like I said, and then in the 70s, when the government at that point tried to stop Americans from participating in unauthorized foreign boycotts. Well, this week, the House of Representatives was set to vote on the International Governmental Organization Anti-Boycott Act, which would have arguably been the most draconian measure of this kind to date. It would impose a maximum of 20 years in prison or $1 million fine, or both, for complying with international human rights sanctions against a U.S. ally. So they got enough backlash that they decided they would postpone that vote because, like I said, we have free speech in this country. And as long as we still have it, by damn it, use it,
Sure.
And everything. So, like I said, it's on ice for now, but they're still sitting there on the books. So, like I said, that's one that I'd like to kind of keep a little bit of an eye on too, because, like I said, I shouldn't be punished for thoughts or for disagreeing with you. Are rallies and stuff a pain in the ass? Yes, they are. But guess what? We have that right. And I just think it's insane that, anyway, off my soapbox on that one.
I mean, freedom of speech. I mean, everybody's like, oh, there's all these countries that have freedom of speech. Sure. Let's go ahead and use, I think it's Britain as an example. They had a freedom of speech, didn't they? I'm pretty sure that's what one of the countries everybody says. But go on there now and try to put something crazy on Facebook. You know what I mean? You're going to get locked up.
The entire European Union has laws, not for hate speech per se, but if you go, oh, well, I think that they should just all unalive, that is considered hate speech, and you will get arrested and
hateful.
Possibly fined or jailed. Yeah, it is, and I've always said, yeah, we have freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean you have freedom of consequences. You can lose your job if you get on social media and act an idiot. Okay, you had your free speech. Your boss has the right to fire you.
Yeah,
but we don't have to worry about going to jail for it.
Yeah, I agree. And I fully believe people shouldn't spread like extreme hate on any platform.
I agree.
But we've said it before. If it starts there and it seems like it's something good, the government's going to use it as something not so good in the future, like in the immediate future. Yep. They're going to be like, it's going to be a slow decline too. It go from something that's the most extreme racist thing you've heard and somebody getting arrested for it down to where, like, oh, I don't like this policy that this person passed. We should make them resign. And then that's like the transition of the things. I don't know why I can't, but it's pretty common actually, ain't it? But yeah, it's kind of a scary thing whenever they start throwing rules like this out.
Well, it's like what Minority Report, the movie. In concept, it's great.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
Exactly. It starts with what seems to be a valid concern for everybody, or at least rational thinking people, and then it turns into some kind of tyranny project. Like, it's weird. It's strange how. And if they could just leave it, at that level when it first comes around, then yeah, I'm down for it, whatever, but after that, it just, I don't know, the marker gets moved every time.
Yep. Yep. All right, so let's get off this deep, depressing subject. So this one's a pretty quick one. So Americans tuned in to a congressional UFO hearing in May, where top scientists and Pentagon insiders claim the U.S. government has been concealing proof of alien life. No. Spotlighting a resurfaced 1987 CIA document from the Stargate program that suggests the government may have identified extraterrestrial beings decades ago. This document, titled Description of Personnel Associated ET Bases, details a remote viewing session claiming to identify extraterrestrial bases in Alaska, South America, or Africa, and on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Part of the CIA's secretive Stargate program, which ran from the early 70s to 1995 to explore psychic phenomena for intelligent purposes, the declassified 12-page report describes 3 types of entities at these sites. One entity had a large, round-shaped head and an unhuman appearance. Another was very pale with a sharp nose, while the Titan base appeared staffed by human-like scientists, including an attractive female. Sketches in the report, particularly one resembling Alaska's Mount Hayes, suggest underground bases, with the viewer noting entries performing routine tasks such as operating a circular console. Mount Hayes has long been associated with UFO sightings, was depicted as hosting two entity types, though details on the base itself were sparse. The South American/African site, despite a sketch labeled South America, had a European-like landscape with one robot-like entity and another bald, featureless but friendly being. The Titan base lacked alien presence, instead featuring human technicians. These claims, while intriguing, stem from remote viewing, a method criticized as scientifically unreliable, leading to Stargate's termination in 1995 after a review found it operationally ineffective. No empirical evidence supports these bases' existence, and the report's sensational nature, amplified by figures like Joe McMoneagle's Mars Pyramid scheme or claims, remains unverified, reflecting Cold War era experimentation rather than confirmed extraterrestrial contact.
Nice.
Yes. And definitely the government is hiding a lot of stuff, not just about aliens, but
I mean, the more they push the alien stuff on us, the UAPs and biologic non-humans, I mean, the less I'm like, yeah, that's probably bullshit. I don't know.
Right.
Like, I just don't, I don't trust them at all.
I get it.
It's very hard to, like, I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing too, though, and I haven't watched the hearings, but they really haven't released a lot of what you would consider good information, or like, I mean, so they're saying, yeah, well, we know there are UFOs, and here's what we think, but they're not saying, oh my God, in Area 51. That crap happened, and here's what happened, so they're not really giving us a lot of information.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, what are they not telling us, and what are they hiding by leaking the little bit of information they're giving?
Exactly. And it's every week too that, we come out here and we have some kind of weird ancient alien technology or something that's happening now. It's consistently out there now. Years ago, people would have thought you was a madman talking about it, and now it's kind of just like, oh, whatever, yeah, aliens.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's right. I saw Men in Black. I knew when I saw that, that there had to be something else out there. So, but yeah, that's kind of my take on a lot of it. I really don't think they've given any relevant information about UFOs. So I think it's just, something to cover up something bigger, because they know that the sensationalism surrounding it will distract everybody from something more important, like them trying to put us in prison for 20 years for boycotting.
Yeah.
But so
we got enough time for one more, and this is part of the title, so we'll go ahead and cover it. So, are you a psychic? Do you like competition? Well, apparently there's a world psychic competition coming to Charlottesville, Virginia this August. So what are the PSI games, you may ask? The PSI games are a groundbreaking tournament designed to explore and celebrate the full spectrum of psychic abilities. Grounded in the principles of the Bannister effect, this comes from the website. We aim to open participants and spectators' minds to a vast potential of PSI by showcasing what is truly possible. This event is not about proving the impossible, but about discovering what is achievable when you unite curiosity, integrity, and skill in a community-driven environment. So, they go on to say, we bring together. Whoa. Is that totally?
No, it's not.
Tully's like, tell them to stop reading it like that. We bring together 5 teams of 5 spanning youth and adult divisions to engage in friendly yet challenging PSI-based competitions. Each team member focuses on one of 5 core categories: remote viewing, mind sight, precognition, psychokinesis, and dowsing, bringing their best abilities to the forefront. Points are awarded based on performance, with a panel of expert judges providing an an objective standard for each PSI challenge. This sounds so intriguing, really, though. I love to go watch it and just people stand across from each other going, pew, pew. You know what I mean?
You know, and there's going to be a lot of that. There are, and I firmly believe in psychic abilities. You know, I mean, I've known people that there was no question they had those abilities.
Oh, yeah.
But ones that are really tuned into that part of themselves don't generally advertise it to the public at large.
Yeah, they're not going to a psychic competition.
Right.
Yeah. But it goes on to say, our vision is to create a space that goes beyond traditional competition, fostering an atmosphere of collaboration, playfulness, and personal growth. The PSI Games seek to establish a new standard for psychic performance, offering participants a unique opportunity to refine their skills while building lasting connections. By doing so, we hope to inspire a broader appreciation for the study and practice of the psychic phenomenon, and to create an international stage where these abilities can be recognized, celebrated, and explored. Oh my God, this is so long. Inspiration behind the games. The PSI games are designed to create I think I read that already.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of repetitive to what you just read.
Yeah. So blah 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 blah. So I think we can skip the rest of this because it's pretty cut and dry. It does say here that it's sponsored by Totally. So he threw in a plug for his own thing. No, I'm joking. I mean, it does sound fun. It sounds intriguing, but like you said, people that have these true abilities don't typically go around doing things like this. Now, I strongly believe that if you have any kind of like skills similar to this, you can build and develop them. So maybe people that have a touch of it, want to go there and refine their skills. So please go to this thing in Virginia. It'd be fun.
And it could be, people looking for like-minded individuals, okay, so, I know when something bad's going to happen, I know there are going to be other people there that are going to do this also. Maybe I can make a connection and, talk to somebody who understands who I am.
That's exactly why the people that are full-fledged and already strong into this, Linda, will not go into it, because Linda puts here, the winners are going to get abducted or go missing. They better be careful. Exactly. If somebody went there and actually showed a strong psychic ability, that's exactly what would happen.
Because I do believe there are still government experiments going on trying to, pull in that stuff. I mean, how can there not be? I mean, how often do we hear, oh yeah, they think there's, a $17 billion underground bunker in this place? Yeah, there probably is, and they're probably doing research that would never pass, typical human okayness. So
100%. Like, think about it like this. All right, so the government always does these projects. The projects come to light, and they're like, oh, we quit doing that. And then 60, 70 years later, you find out they never quit doing it.
They just renamed it.
They just renamed it deeper into the abyss, so people can find it as easy. That's exactly what they do with this stuff, because at one point in time in our fairly recent history, maybe not for the youngsters listening, but during your lifetime and during my lifetime, the government was actively trying to find psychics. And they were trying to build psychic abilities.
Yep, absolutely.
It's not even like a question. That's not even a conspiracy anymore. It used to be, but now it's like, yeah, we did that. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I remember back when I was a kid, the first time I ever saw Uri Geller. Remember the guy that could bend forks and spoons and stuff? And it was almost like, they pushed it out like it was almost like a circus trick. They did not in any way try to make it something serious because, like I said, people had started getting wind of some of the things that they were doing. So, well, we're just going to entertain them and they'll forget about the other unpleasant stuff that also happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, the world's a lot stranger than what you want to believe or what you want to think a lot of times. It really is. Morgana and I have made a decision that when one person isn't here, that allows us a 15-minute allotment to quit early. And we gave you all a little extra.
That's right.
But what's happening on Weird Awakenings tonight?
We are talking about Strange Missouri.
And it's starting to sound like it's going to be you and me. Starting to look like that, ain't it? It's going to be fun. I've done zero research. I hope you have something.
I do. And if you can pull us up like some crazy laws and stuff, I can hit a few highlights and it'll be fine. Yeah,
we'll rock it out and knock it out. It's going to be an amazing episode like always. And thank everybody for tuning in tonight on Where in the Folk. Come back every Friday at 7 p.m. while we cover offbeat news of the weirdness in the world.
Yep.
And if you're watching and you haven't done it already, please give us a like or at least subscribe so that we can see some movement and growth. And hopefully Tully will be back soon. I lied a little bit. He's on a secret mission for Mossad because he's a plant. No, I'm joking. Obviously, but he'll be back soon.
Yeah.
And thank you
Stephen
all.
had a graduation.
Oh yeah. Stephen's graduating from high school. He's finally
got there.
Right. And thank you all for watching us because we are watching you.